So I've tried to film this video 3 times already because I have feelings about this book. I have emotions about this book that I want to express, but because there are feelings, I try to elaborate so much that my camera just keeps running out of battery because, I'm filming this on my phone and there just isn't that much storage. So this is my review video, my first ever review video on this channel, which is just atrocious, about Tender by Belinda McKeon, which I managed to read between copious amounts of Christmas puddings and just laying on my bed with severe heartburn. So thank you, Belinda, for shining a light during these dark days. Yeah, let's get on with it. Tender by Belinda McKeon is a book that came out last year, I think, but I just read it this year. It has been on my TBR. I saw on Goodreads for ever since January, I think, and yeah, I finally read it and I'm very glad I did. This is about James and Catherine. We start with Catherine, who is a really shy girl who lives in the Irish countryside during the 1990s in Ireland, which was a very tumultuous time, as we all know. And as the book starts, she has just gone to Trinity College, her first year there, and she is studying poetry and English. And during that first year, she has moved in with 2 girls who had to replace their 3rd roommate, who had gone off to Berlin to study photography and work with the famous photographer. And at the end of that first year, in which Catherine is trying to discover herself, which we've all been through during our first year at university, or living in a new big city, and living on your own for the first time, which I also had to go through, and which was quite a challenge, but I'm really happy to have gone through that challenge because, living on your own for the first time in a foreign city, well, not that foreign, it's still the same country, but, it shapes you as a person. The people that the friends that you make are mostly friends that maybe will stick to you for a long time. So, yeah, for her, this was also quite a challenge, being very shy. And at the end of that first year, that roommate who has gone to Berlin returns to Ireland, and that is James, who is pictured here. I'm not the biggest fan of photographic covers because, you always have your own image of the persons in there and it doesn't really correspond with my image of them. Anyway, I'm waffling. Whatever. So Catherine and James meet, and from the very first instant you just know that this is going to be a very close friendship, a very intense friendship, which is on the edge of a platonic relationship as the book progresses, because as we soon find out, James is a gay man, which isn't that ideal during 1990s Ireland, which is a very conservative Catholic country. And although there were some progressions concerning homosexuality and the regulations of that during that time in Ireland, it's still not a great time to be gay at that period, because we see that he really struggles with finding people like him. Everybody is very guarded, very closeted, so is he, so as not to attract that much attention to their sexuality. And that is something that he tries to hide from most people, but to Catherine and to his friends he's very open about that. And he is described as very flamboyant, so I think it's also very difficult for him to just hide that. And in a way he tries to use Catherine, his very close relationship with Catherine, as a safety blanket for him, because when they go out, just go shopping or something, he tries to hold her hand, because when he walks hand in hand with another girl, people will think that, he's not gay, he has a girlfriend. And to Catherine, it starts out as a very good friend, but in turn it turns out that she slowly starts to develop feelings for him, which slowly disintegrates in something very obsessive. And while the book progresses, and when the book progresses, she becomes very obsessive, a bit stalkerish, and tries to actively discourage him from finding people who he could fall in love with, because she wants him all for himself. And when people try to persuade her that it's not healthy what they're doing, because he uses her as a safety blanket, she tries to keep her more for himself. So it's a very toxic friendship after a while. And there were some things that I really recognized in that, because not in a way that it becomes stalkerish, but we all have had, I think, that friend, or maybe, you know, that person that you're actually in love with, but you know that you don't stand a chance because they're either straight or gay, or, you know, in a relationship with someone else. And well, we've all had the good insight to let that go and maybe, you know, block them entirely or not. She just doesn't do that. She just goes for it. And in a way, it's very heartbreaking to see how she... In a way, it's very heartbreaking to see how she partly destroys herself going for somebody she knows deep inside that she can't have, and that she is actually destroying both his and her life by doing that. And while the book progresses in a way that I'm not going to tell, and where I'm not going to say how they end up and whether they're still friends at the end, or if he finds somebody to love or not. Oh, bit of Queen there, never mind. I found this so heart-wrenching and also so beautiful, because this is a very intense friendship, something that you hardly ever find, something that if you come across it, you try to hold on to so tight, but they hold on so tight that it just becomes sickening, that it just becomes so heart-wrenching that, I don't know, I had... When I started reading this, I just thought, oh yeah, a friendship between a boy and between a girl and a gay guy, you know, something that we've read so many times. But then, like I said, it devolves in something so much more, I don't know. It really broke my heart in places for her, while I sympathized with him. So yeah, like I said, I had all the feelings with this book. So if anything that I described in this very rambly video, but you know, I just had to express my feelings, please go and read it. It's a very fascinating, very heart-wrenching book, and I recommend it to everybody. And yeah, please read it. If it's, you know, make it one of your reading resolutions for 2017. Promise? Yeah. So yeah, that was my first review after like 1 year on this channel. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, maybe next year, yeah, probably next year, for another Boris Well video. Bye!